Dear SYBSC physics students, all are welcome in this new session on chapter number 3, that is forced oscillation. Today we will see first part of this forced oscillation is one of the important chapter from our syllabus, which requires understanding of the things what we have learned in chapter 1 and chapter 2. Let me revise briefly. In chapter 1, we have seen undamped free oscillations, where there is only one force, that is restoring force. In that case, there is an energy of an oscillator is always constant, and this energy doesn't change, it remains constant, only it gets transformed from kinetic to potential and potential to kinetic. And such an oscillator is said to have its frequency to be omega. We have calculated expression for this omega, which is given by root k upon m. That was chapter 1. In chapter 2, we have added one more force, that is called as damping force or resistive force, which is called as velocity dependent force, which is given by minus r into dx upon dt, where x is the displacement. Now this particular force is opposing the motion, therefore we have taken two forces together. We have set differential equation for this type of damped harmonic oscillator, and then we solve that differential equation. We have seen three different cases: case 1, that is overdamped; case 2, that is the critically damped; and case 3, that is the underdamped motion. Out of that, this underdamped motion is important parameter for us. For that such type of underdamped oscillator, we have seen logarithm decrement. Also, we have seen how to calculate energy of this type of damped harmonic oscillator. Actually, in this case, unlike in chapter 1, in this case, this energy goes on reducing, because every time this oscillator has to work against this type of damping force, and thereby its energy goes on reducing exponentially, and similarly its amplitude also goes on decreasing exponentially. So such type of an oscillator is called as damped harmonic oscillator. Then we have seen one such example of electrical damped harmonic oscillator. We have studied the analogy between mechanical damped harmonic oscillator and the electrical damped harmonic oscillator. Next to that, if we add one more force into this list of the forces, that force is said to be external periodic force. I am using these words. External means it's from outside, it is not part of the system. It is periodic, that means it depends upon the time. It is a periodic, like sine and cos. So after certain time, this force comes in existence, and that particular force helps this motion to continue it forever, and such type of oscillations are called as forced oscillations. So in this case, that is what first slide we will discuss here. There are some funny examples I have put in this particular slide. This is a swing. In one of the swing there is a child, and in another swing there is a dog that is taking that is undergoing this type of oscillations, or that is happily it is sitting in this particular swing, and that is enjoying this particular swing right there. In the second case, there is one good cartoon. There is one fellow who is swinging there, and he is being supported by someone else, and that particular fellow adds some particular force or some push to that particular swing, and thereby this child or this particular person that is swinging forever as a long time. And this is exactly nothing but the forced oscillation. So we are forcing the oscillator to continue its oscillation by providing certain external periodic force, and that is what called as, that type of oscillations are called as forced oscillations. That is what we are going to discuss in detail. What are these forces, what are the characteristics of this force, how to add it, how to get this differential equation, all these things we'll discuss one by one. So let's read these particular paragraphs here. When a body oscillates being influenced by an external periodic force, it is called as a forced oscillation. This is the definition. Here the amplitude of oscillation experiences damping, that is because of the resistive force, but it remains constant due to the external energy supplied to them. Now realize the case. You are sitting in the swing, and someone is pushing your swing from outside or from backside, and thereby you are enjoying the swing continuously with a higher and higher amplitude or higher and higher the swing there, motion of the swing there. So for example, when you push someone on a swing, you have to keep periodically pushing them so that the swing doesn't reduce, so doesn't stop here. The continuous motion of the simple harmonic motion of the swings goes on, and this is one of the very interesting and nice case that is to be studied in case of this type of the oscillations, waves and sound, this particular course. Now this particular forced oscillation has great applications in physics. We are going to learn lot many applications, including resonance. Resonance is one of the very important and fundamental concept and principle used in physics. At lot many phenomenon, in several phenomenon, we find this type of resonance is one of the very important concept physically, as well as other aspects. That means there are several applications of this resonance that also we are going to discuss in detail in the second or third session. And at the end, we are going to again go for calculation of its power dissipation, its quality factor of this type of oscillator, that is called as forced oscillator, as well as we are going to discuss the electrical forced oscillator. Now again, exactly the similar way what we did in chapter 2, we are going to see the analogy between mechanical forced oscillator and this type of electrical forced oscillator. So these are the certain important points we are going to discuss based upon this particular chapter, that is called as forced oscillation. Now, as we have seen, I have added one very interesting figure there. This is one bridge, hanging bridge, and this bridge is undergoing oscillations on its own because of the wind flowing there. And suppose if you are standing on this bridge in this situation, what will be expressions on your face, that is shown by this particular emoji I have added there. So forget about this funny part here. So let's come to our mathematical part of this type of motion, that is forced oscillation. So in such forced harmonic motion, there are three different forces as we have discussed earlier. First force is called as restoring force, or that is F restoring, which is given by F is equal to minus kx, where this k is force constant, x is displacement. We have already known about this force. This is the force which is proportional to the displacement and it is opposite in the direction, and that force is basically responsible for continuation of this type of simple harmonic motion. And second force already we have introduced in the chapter 2, that is called as damping or resistive force, given by minus r into dx by dt. And this is what we call is a velocity dependent force. This is the force we have called it to be a displacement dependent force. This force opposes the motion, and this force helps or supports this particular type of simple harmonic motion. And there is one more, another force which is called as external. External means from the outside. Periodic, that means this particular force, it comes in existence at a certain specified time intervals. That's what it is, periodic. And this force is given by the sign or the symbol or the expression F0 sine qt. Now this sine qt ensures this periodicity, and this particular F0 is the magnitude of this particular force. Note that this total it has this F0 sine qt, this has a dimensions of force. So that is what you can go for its units, and that will be given, unit of this will be given to be Newton, and therefore out of this sine qt is going to be a number only, because sine of any function is going to be a number, and therefore this F0 has dimensions of force, and therefore it will have unit that is to be in Newton. Out of that, remember here this t is the time, and what is this q? This q is called as, this is one very interesting name given this is called as driving frequency, or this is also called as forcing frequency 2. And this q is now very important and fundamental discussion for us in future, because in chapter 1 we have seen there is one frequency, natural frequency omega. In chapter P2, that is in damped oscillation, we have seen another frequency, that is p, that is somewhat reduced or smaller as compared to this natural frequency of that oscillator. And in this chapter we are going to concentrate on another frequency, that is q. that is called as frequency of the periodic force, external periodic force. Sorry. And this particular frequency decides characteristics of this type of motion, which is called as the forced oscillation. And therefore F total, in this case the total number of forces will be 3. Addition of these 3 forces gives me F total is equal to minus kx minus r into dx upon dt. Both of these forces are negative, and the last quantity is F0 sin qt. This is the force which is taken to be positive. So addition of these 3 forces decides what is the differential equation here. As here in this case also, this r is a constant of proportionality, which you have seen earlier, and F0 sin qt is the external periodic force, where this F0 is the magnitude of this external periodic force, and q is the frequency of this type of external periodic force that is known to us. And now if we go for this Newton's second law of motion, or if we write this left hand side is equal to Newton's second law of motion, then I'll get this is m into d square x upon dt square minus kx minus r into dx by dt plus F0 sin qt. Out of this, take these 2 terms, first and second term on the RHS on the left hand side, we get m into d square x upon dt square plus r into dx by dt plus kx is equal to F0 sin qt. Now remember, in chapter 2 we had this right hand side to be equal to 0. Here in this chapter 3, this right hand side is now equal to F0 sin qt. This is not a function of x. So this is not a function of x, and therefore such type of differential equation, this is called as differential equation for the post harmonic oscillation or oscillator. And this differential equation is now second ordered ordinary linear inhomogeneous differential equation. Because of this part, it is non-zero. This type of differential equation is called as homogeneous second order ordinary linear inhomogeneous differential equation. I'm sure you might be knowing the method in mathematics to solve such type of differential equation, and whenever we try to solve this type of differential equation, this differential equation has 2 separate parts, then we have to combine them together, and then we have to get a final solution of that type of differential equation. Here also we are going to apply same method as follows. Okay, so this method is, now there will be 2 different types of solutions. First one of that, so that is what we have mentioned here. Left hand side of the given differential equation is this m into d square x upon dt square plus r into dx by dt plus kx is equal to 0. Now this is second ordered ordinary linear homogeneous differential equation. Solution, oscillatory solution of this differential equation already we have discussed in the chapter 2, and that's what I am writing. Solution of this differential equation is of the form x is equal to a times e raised to minus rt upon twice m into sine of pt plus theta. This is what we call a displacement in the damped harmonic oscillator. So that is what displacement of damped harmonic oscillator, where the frequency, angular frequency is p, and this part a into e raised to minus rt upon twice m, this is the exponentially reducing amplitude that was said to be the solution of this left hand side of this equation, which has been taken here in this case. So this solution is an solution is oscillatory, which is already we have discussed in chapter 2. And there is one more thing that is called as second type of solution is called as particular integral. So first one is called as complementary solution. Second type of solution is called as particular integral solution. And in this case, again, this solution is assumed to be of the form x is equal to a. Now this a is different than this a. Okay? So this a and this capital A has no relation at all. This is something amplitude different here, which is of the form sine of qt minus phi. Again, remember here, sine of qt minus phi is going to be a number. To have this x to be a have dimensions of length, this a has been added there. So this a is now amplitude, which has now dimensions of length, and therefore this particular integral form of the solution is given by x is equal to a sine of qt minus phi, because this solution is oscillatory and this a is now amplitude of this type of motion here. So where this capital A and this phi, okay, a is something, as I said earlier, it is different, that this capital A and phi are constant, and this phi and A are now dependent upon these different parameters. F0, that is the amplitude of the driving force, m, that is the mass of the oscillator, k, that is the force constant of this free or undamped oscillator, q is the frequency of the q is the frequency of the forced oscillation, forced external periodic force, and this r is the damping coefficient there. So this capital A and this phi, this depends upon several parameters including f0, m, k, q and r. So try to find out that in earlier case this small a is simply length of that is oscillation or this amplitude of that oscillator. Very simple physical quantity to understand. But in this case, this capital A and capital phi, they are dependent upon 5 different factors which are mentioned here: f0, m, k, q and r. And therefore the general solution of this type of differential equation, if it is to be given, it is given by x is equal to a times e raised to minus rt upon twice m into sine of pt plus theta plus a times sine of qt minus phi. Now there is a question, why to write here to be plus phi or minus phi? You can write plus phi here, that also is allowed there. You can write here minus theta, that is also allowed there, because form of the function is more important than whether this phase is written to be plus phi or minus phi or plus theta or minus theta here. Now this is a general solution, but remember both of these solutions have its impact for certain limited time. So this first part, especially the first term, a times e raised to minus rt upon twice m, because of this factor e times e raised to minus rt upon twice m, as this t goes on increasing, what will happen? This particular factor will go on reducing and finally it will become 0. So out of this solution, this part, okay, written here, the initial stages, in the stage when this oscillator starts its oscillation, both these particular solutions are dominant and that effective. But after certain time, so that particular stage is called as transient phase. Now here in this case, the oscillations of the oscillators are not that easy to understand or easy to plot this particular path of that oscillator. It is some complicated motion, but somehow after this t increases, this factor e raised to minus rt upon twice m, that approaches to 0, becomes 0, and therefore the solution x or the solution of that differential equation becomes practical solutions. I'll see. This is the mathematical solution. But the practical solution of this type of differential equation, which we have written differential equation for forced oscillator, is given by x is equal to a times sine of qt minus phi, and this is called as the steady state solution, or this is going to be an oscillatory. Now its perfect nature of this path will be followed, can be understood or can be plotted, and all other parameters of this type of oscillators can be studied with the help of this solution, which is going to be the solution of this path of the forced oscillator. So try to understand. In chapter 1 we had different solution, in chapter 2 we had different solution, and in chapter 3 we have different solutions. Now getting this solution, this is what the part of mathematicians, and applying this mathematics to such type of physics problem, that is what the things we have done in this case. So straight away we are discarding this first term in the solution. We are now sticking with this second part of the solution, which is given by a times sine of qt minus phi. Now mathematically this entire part is not, we are not skipping this part here, we are not discussing all these things here, but assuming that solution of this differential equation x is equal to a times sine qt minus phi, then differentiating it once, differentiating twice, and substituting it in the differential equation of this forced oscillation, and solving this equation for parameters like a and phi, we get following these two important parameters of this type of motion. So substituting this particular part x here in the differential equation of forced oscillation and solving it for capital A and phi, this entire treatment has been given in our textbook. You can check it later on to how this A and phi has been obtained. We get this A in terms of f0 divided by square root of k minus mq square of the bracket plus r square q square. Try to understand. Denominator is in the square root bracket. Numerator is simply f0, that is the amplitude of the driving force. This is force constant. This is the frequency of the driving of the periodic external periodic force, its frequency. k minus mq square, square of the bracket, and the next term is plus r square into q square. So this contains this r, it contains q, it contains m, it contains k, as well as it contains this f0. So this is how this is called as amplitude of this type of motion or the forced oscillator. And similarly, phase angle phi also can be calculated, and this is given by phi is equal to tan inverse of rq divided by k minus mq square. Remember, dimensions of this and this will be such that this total dimension will be, that means when this will be a pure number, and this number, tan inverse of this number, it will get dimensions of angle there. So this is called as phase of this particular type of forced oscillator, which is given by this expression, and this is called as amplitude of this forced oscillator, which is given by this expression. Now from textbook you can get both these derivations done, and maybe sometimes this part may be difficult for you, and you may have this type of expressions on your faces, that is shown by this emoji. I hope this won't happen with you all people. So this won't happen with you with this particular emoji mentioned here. So what is the point of discussion here? These are this capital A and capital this phi. These are the characteristics of this type of motion, which is called as forced oscillation motion. Now let's discuss something interesting about these both of these. So this is called as characteristics of the forced oscillations. Now this is a bit technical or some understanding part. How physicists have understood this type of systems using the equations which we have set earlier. Amplitude A as earlier given by A is equal to f0 divided by root of k minus mq square, square of the bracket, plus r square into q square. From chapter 1 earlier we have known this k is equal to m omega square, or we have written omega is equal to root k upon m several times. Therefore squaring it, omega square into m, I'll get k. So replace this k by m omega square in this expression, then we will get f0 there. Now I am replacing this m. Okay, now this term contains m, here it will contains m square. Taking it out of the bracket, it will become square root of m square is m, so it comes out, and this bracket remains omega square minus q square, square of the bracket, and this m square, since m is taken outside the square root bracket, we have to divide this term by m square again. So we will get expression for A is equal to f0 divided by m into square root of my omega square minus q square, square of the bracket, plus r square q square upon m square. Now look at this equation. This denominator decides very interesting factors or interesting things. Now this A here will be maximum or minimum, that is decided by the terms inside this square root bracket, whether these terms are equal, 0, or maximum. Based upon that, this A can change or A can vary there. So here this amplitude, now look at this amplitude, there is no dependence of t at all. So it is not dependent upon the time parameter at all. It just depends upon f0, omega, q, m, r, and like that. So it is not dependent upon t, but it depends upon these two parameters. That one is called as damping coefficient r, and second is this very interesting term that is called as omega square minus q square. So this is natural frequency of this free oscillator. This is the driving frequency of the applied force. Square of this minus square of this. It is possible that sometimes these two are equal. It is possible sometimes that they have a very large difference. But since these are the squares of both of these, this number is always going to be a positive number. And according to that, when we go for plotting of this amplitude versus this q, driving frequency, we get very interesting curves as shown here. So these are three different curves. When the damping is very heavy, we get this first curve as shown here, somewhat flat curve. When this damping is intermediate, that means R value is intermediate, this curve increases sharply, reaches to a maximum, that is a red curve, and again starts falling. So this type of amplitude, this particular curve is for the medium type of damping. And when the damping is very small, so our oscillator is more close to the free harmonic oscillator, in that case this R will be small. The difference between omega square minus q square will be smaller. So this entire factor, or the both of these terms in the denominator are smaller, and therefore A rises very sharply, and that's what we get a very smooth curve here, which shows this A increases, reaches maximum, and again falls here. So here actually this should be omega here. I could have written this to be q here. There is this q greater than omega, and there is q less than omega. So these are the frequencies of the driving force we are taking here. At omega is equal to q, this situation, when this omega and q are equal, omega square minus q square will be equal to 0, and therefore this term disappears from this bracket. And if this r is made very small, then this particular term will have minimum value and you will get maximum amplitude in this case, as shown by this particular curve. And on the other hand, if this q minus q is less than omega, then this difference omega square minus q square, even though it is negative, this square of that has been taken, so it is positive. So this amplitude falls on that side from maximum. And when we get q greater than omega, even though it appears to be negative, since we are taking square here, this again in this case, this goes on increasing square dependence, and therefore this amplitude starts falling here for a particular value of low value of r. So on both sides of this omega greater than q, or q greater than omega, or q less than omega, omega is the natural frequency of this oscillator, and this particular curve falls, and that's how we get variation of amplitude versus q, or driving frequency, as shown in this particular graph. So the difference between natural frequency and driving frequency plays very important role in all types of such forced oscillations. So this difference between omega and q, that decides what type of motion will be executed by that type of particular oscillator, which is called as forced oscillator. So this particular term omega square minus q square, that term we are going to use very frequently in all further derivations and concepts which we are going to understand here in this case. Okay, so this is first characteristics, that is called as amplitude. How amplitude varies with driving frequency, that is also shown by this particular graph. So that is one part of understanding here. Second thing, we can go for another calculation that is shown here, that is called as phase. So phase is given by, already we have seen this expression, phase of such type of forced oscillation is given by tan inverse in the bracket rq upon k minus mq square. Here also we can substitute this k is equal to m omega square from chapter 1, and therefore this equation becomes phi is equal to tan inverse. Now rq will be there, m can be taken outside of this because it is m omega square minus mq square, so I am taking m out of this. Again I am getting the same term, that is omega square minus q square. That is the difference between the square of the natural frequency and driving frequency. Now as when this q is greater than omega, q is equal to omega, q is less than omega, depending upon that denominator sometimes become positive, sometimes it is 0, sometimes it is negative, and based upon that angle phi, or this phase of this type of forced oscillator goes on changing. So this particular table tells you when q is less than omega, what will happen there? When q is less than omega, this square omega square minus q square will be, okay, when q is less than omega, omega square minus q square will be positive or greater than 0. Therefore I'll get rq upon m into positive number, so entire number will be positive, and the angle for which tan is positive, these are the angles in between 0 and twice pi. So phase of such type of forced oscillator, it will be decided by r, that is damping coefficient, it will be decided by q, that is the driving frequency, it will be decided by m, and it is also decided by this natural frequency of this type of oscillator. So these parameters, 4 parameters, decides the value of tan phi, which is going to be positive, and the value of phi concerned case will be 0 to twice pi in between. So it will be minimum 0, maximum it will be pi by 2. That is one case here, special case. Then the second case, when q is equal to omega, that is very special case, when this driving frequency of external periodic force and the natural frequency of this oscillator, when these two exactly matches, in that case this omega square minus q square will be simply 0, and in that case this rq upon anything divided by 0 is going to be infinity. So this term itself becomes infinity, and tan inverse of infinity is only one specific value. That angle is called as sine this pi by 2. We always know sine of pi by 2 divided by cos of pi by 2, that is defined to be a tan pi by 2, and we know that this particular value of sine pi by 2 is 1. and cos pi by 2 is 0. So 1 upon 0 is equal to infinity. Therefore, tan pi by 2 is equal to infinity, or tan inverse infinity is equal to pi by 2. So this is the only special case when the driving frequency and angular frequency of these the external periodic force and this particular forced oscillator, these two matches. In that case, we get phase difference between this driving force and the oscillator, forced oscillator. This particular phase difference is going to be pi by 2. For all other cases, it is not that. That is a very special case, and that case is one of the very important parameter. We are going to discuss all these things later on in case of resonance. Whenever such type of situation occurs practically, that leads to a very interesting phenomenon in physics or in mathematics, and that is called as resonance. More about that we will discuss in the next session. And now third parameter in this case, as we have discussed here, that is called to be the frequency. Now frequency is another important parameter. So forced oscillations are executed as long as applied force is there. That means in a swing, as long as you are pushing the swing from backside, or if you are applied some certain force, the external periodic force, if you are giving continuously this type of providing this continuously this type of external periodic force, this particular motion or forced oscillation will continue its motion forever. The angular frequency of forced oscillation is same as that of the driving frequency, even though its natural frequency is omega. But if you are pushing this particular swing by some frequency q different than omega, then this particular forced oscillator will be forced to execute its motion with the same frequency which is given by the driving frequency of the in the particular situation, or that is what the external periodic force. And finally, that's what angular frequency, and frequency of such type of forced oscillator is expressed by q upon twice pi. So this is what an expression for frequency. This is how frequency of this oscillator is controlled by the frequency of the external driving force, and how to calculate it. All these things we have discussed. We have seen how to go for its phase calculation or phase determination between this driving force and the motion of this oscillator. So phase can be anything from 0 to pi, depending upon values of q and other relationship between q and omega. Whether this driving frequency is less than natural frequency, it is equal, or it is more, depending upon that this phase of this particular motion or phase difference of this forced oscillator varies in between 0 to pi. So these simple calculations or simple primary things related to this type of oscillator we have discussed here. Okay, so here we will finish this particular first part, but try to understand what are the things we have discussed, we classified, or we have seen. And this is what one very practical example of oscillators where external periodic force is provided, and because of that force, characteristics of this oscillator goes on changing. So it doesn't remain a free oscillations, it doesn't remain a damped oscillations, but it becomes a third type of oscillation, that is called as the forced oscillation. And all these important parameters, that means how to get its differential equation, solving this differential equation, getting the practical solution from that differential equation, and using this practical solution of this differential equation to understand its characteristics, that is called as amplitude, phase, and third character that is the frequency. So here this is what an important discussion of this forced oscillation. We will stop here in this session. In the next session we will go for next parameters, that is called as resonance in case of this forced oscillation. So thank you for being with me for this session. Thank you all.